Good. Oh. It's a podcast from these guys on the chairs. It's the three people over here. It's a three people podcast. There's one person, two person, then there's another guy. We're just three people and a microphone.
Okay, cool. Welcome to the Bennettarium podcast.
Whoa, that's not what it's called at all. It's called three people with three chairs and three microphones. Talking.
Actually, you can see we have four microphones here.
And we've got headphones as well.
Are you keeping up with the chat? Make sure the stream's going okay? Okay, because we're streaming this one
good.
like we do every...
Is everyone like, wow, what a brand new podcast? Wow.
No, it's the same one.
Oh, okay.
Bunny last minute had to call out. She was a little bit sick yesterday for some of the Patreon stuff we did, and it's only gotten worse. I mean, she's fine. She's just there's no point in her coming here and getting us all sick.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Hello, challenge accepted.
And let's see, Camille has had a long work week.
Camille's had a long work week, and she's got a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 to play on her one day off.
Yeah.
And,
Understandable.
It's actually
it's
I don't know how they do the voice.
I'm in hell.
It's easy to do the.
So hard.
It's easy to do the.
You know who does it in the DuckTales TV show, the new one? You know who does it?
No.
David, do you know who does it?
No.
David, do you know who does it?
I do not, Brian.
It's Don Cheadle.
Really?
It's Cheadle. It's Cheadle.
He can do the voice.
Cheadle's got it. You didn't know that about Don Cheadle, did you?
No, I knew he was.
Now you do.
What about him?
You know Oscar award-winning Don Cheadle? he's Donald in the DuckTales, I think.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You could just be pulling our leg.
I could be pulling your leg. I'm pretty sure it's true though.
So we are the Bennettarium podcast. This is the podcast from the creators of Steam Powered Giraffe.
Whoa.
A little robot band that we started.
There's only
one
Intros.
Bennett today, but hi, my name's David Michael Bennett, and I play the Spine in Steam Powered Giraffe.
Hello, I'm Chelsea Penyak. I am one of the Walter workers with Steam Powered Giraffe.
And I am Brian David Bennett, and I'm one of the Walter workers named Zero, who's a robot named Steam Powered Giraffe.
It's only funny to people who know what was the first podcast.
You know what? They're good because they'll be like,
They gotta figure it out now.
That's a highbrow, lowbrow.
Is it? Is it either of those things?
It's none of those things. It's just nonsense. Which is, for some people they thought nonsense was funny for a bit. Like someone did like a nonsensical thing that was very highbrow, but then they're like, "Oh, nonsense is funny," and you're like, "No, nonsense isn't really funny. It's just nonsense."
If you're a preteen going into teenage years,
nonsense
right
is
before
hilarious.
maybe a little bit into college.
What? Random humor.
Random humor.
LOL random.
Nonsense.
Oh, I was a teenager in the Invader Zim Hot Topic days.
Oh.
I remember the LOL random days.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I was 4 years removed. So.
I watched Invader Zim.
I mean, I've seen it.
I liked Invader Zim. I loved it.
It's good.
I love
It was
Invader
It was a great
Zim.
cartoon.
It's a great cartoon.
It would never happen.
Wow.
It might happen on an adult cartoon somewhere.
Oh yeah.
today.
It was definitely like.
it would never be on network TV.
But it was definitely Ren and Stimpy-esque.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
As in, it's grotesque.
And
art.
the creator is like
It's grotesque,
really hard
art.
to work with and like
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. Kind of like Ren and Stimpy.
Back in the day, I owned all the DVD collection, and I would listen to all the commentaries
Invader?
of Zim.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
and
cool.
like Jonan Vasquez and all the voice cast. They were just like hilarious to listen.
And if you
to.
like Invader Zim, you can go play Skylanders and hear the villain is the same.
I can't believe they're making that movie.
What?
The Invader Zim.
What?
Yeah, it's part of some Nickelodeon anniversary thing where a bunch of old animated cartoons from that era, they're doing movies for them.
Yeah, they're doing like
and
a
it
Hey
was
Arnold
like
movie. And
they announced the Zim one at Comic-Con, and I watched the trailer, which is like one of those things that people thought would never ever happen because like for years the creator like on Twitter has loved to make jokes like, great news, Invader Zim fans! I just had a chocolate taco for the first time in 5 years. Also, Zim is still canceled forever. That's been his like humor for the last few years, and no one ever thought it would happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Steam Powered Giraffe.
What's that?
Oh yeah. Hi.
Let's see. Where are we? We just did a show.
No, we didn't.
Our first show of the year. Maybe our last.
It's a secret. It's a secret show.
This was the Echo Engine, which was it's a steam-powered giraffe show. We still play songs. There's still the random improv-y kind of stuff that we do.
I feel like we should give them a synopsis. So the Echo Engine is a cave. We go into a cave, and then it's like a loop pedal. So have you ever seen like Reggie Watts? Like it's like a Reggie Watts show. Like we all have loop pedals, and then we try to out loop pedal.
Except,
each other.
Have you ever seen someone who has a loop pedal but isn't as talented as Reggie Watts?
That's
kind of
us. That's us. So like, and then it's like three of us. So it's like we're not really in sync.
And we all like it almost when you look at the stage setup, you're almost like, did they even like rehearse this? And no, we didn't.
Well, there was a lot of toilet paper.
We didn't even figure out like who would be playing what instruments. I brought 2 spoons.
Yeah.
And you brought.
Well, I mean, I brought the jug, but like you only play the jug for so. It only got 1 key. I didn't bring any water to fill it up, so it was just stuck in that 1 key. It was only good for like 2 songs.
And Michael Reed did bring a guitar.
We didn't play it.
Yeah.
It was an experimental show.
So,
So it's like a steam-powered giraffe.
You ever seen Yoko Ono perform? It was much like that.
Yep.
Art. It was art.
I just want to thank Yoko Ono and the John Lennon estate for making Beatles Rock Band happen years ago. Because
yeah,
they had to sign off on all
yeah.
that. So,
Nice. Wasn't that like a huge resurgence of the Beatles?
Yep.
Like, everyone was like, oh my. Well,
it was like the second Summer of Love.
second
People called it 2007.
Yeah.
And around that time, didn't they come out with the iTunes or a few years after that?
The big remastered collection. The whole discography came out that year. I bought it. I bought Beatles Rock Band the same year, and I went to see Cirque du Soleil's Love, which had opened like that year or the year before. Like there was a huge Beatles resurgence that year.
I was just getting out of high school, and oh boy, we listened to the Beatles a lot then. Oh, we'll put on the Sgt. Peppers, and we sit in the back of a truck, and we'd eat hot dogs and watch the sunset, and then the thing would freeze and the credits would play. And the movie would be over.
I was in college in 2004.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I graduated high school in 2007. And yes, I went through a huge Beatles phase.
Yeah, me too.
I graduated in 2004, high school.
I graduated in 2005.
So I was in college when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
You were too. You must have been.
In 2006.
Yeah, see, it came out in 2000. Anyways. Anyways, yeah, all that was... We were just making that up. Obviously, the show was the show was a normal steam-powered giraffe show, but there was a loose plot to it, and we had 2 new songs.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a lot more cues in this one, but there was still a lot of the improv and stuff. And the plot, without spoiling too much, is about time travel and stuff. So.
Yeah.
And we want to remount the show, so we didn't film it or anything. And it was a good call to not film it and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was
a lot.
It was a lot of new stuff, and it would not have been.
There's just
good to spoil that for anyone.
There's so many cues, and Steve worked really hard on getting all that stuff locked in. But it's like you said, it's like it was like a major theater production with no cue to cue.
No, we can't afford to rent a theater for an extra night to run through all the cues and stuff. But actually, that went pretty okay. And then my guitar died like halfway through one of the songs, and we had to pause and stuff. And anyways, one of the new songs. But we had a VIP. Experience,
and that sure was good.
Yeah, no, when everything went out flawless on the VIP rehearsal.
If that's not a VIP sale, I don't know what is.
So I just imagine, like, boy, if someone was filming the stuff, it doesn't look bad, but like like everyone there understands, like, something happened on stage. Like we covered it fine. Whatever,
but you'd be surprised though.
But no, but online though,
lots of people didn't know what was scripted and what wasn't during the goof ups because the nature of the act just lends itself well to hiding it.
The nature of the act is a whole mess up itself. So.
But it's the people who would film some stuff like that, they have good intentions, even if we perform a song flawlessly and stuff. But it's online, like it's those kind of it's the people who will take your video and make the rise and fall of steam-powered giraffe. That's what we can't have, like, because it's like. If we're just performing all the time, sure, but like, if someone puts up where it's really hot, it's like bordering on like 90 some odd degrees outside, and we're like obviously not doing the robot that much because it's an outdoor.
And they base their whole video over
and
that clip.
Come on, like give us a break.
Now.
It's like, completely out of context.
Yeah.
Like everyone there was also having a miserable time for one thing, but they certainly were enjoying the music. Anyways, you could, as artists, internet with a following, you can beat yourself up about that stuff all the time.
Sure.
But
no, it was a great show.
But yeah, it went out great. We the ticket sales were great. It was besides the 10-year show, which was held at the same theater. This is like our most attended show there.
Besides that one,
because Comic-Con when we do it during Comic-Con, it's just so hard to get people away from Comic-Con to go to it. Yeah. But people tell us all the time, I'll be in town for Comic-Con, hold that thing. So it's okay for those people, but probably not worth doing around Comic-Con. We've done that so many, like on and off for every few years.
Yeah, we tried that a lot because we're like, well, more people are in town. Yeah. You know, we'll pull more people in.
I think if we could do a show at the Horton Grand Theater, it would be worth it because that's something that but it's just like the foot traffic alone would bring people in. Yes. But other than that, like Escondido is not gonna happen for people. No. People don't understand how far it is.
And we did when we did the Spreckles, like a few times or once.
But Conan rents that out.
No, January.
Yeah.
Like we got foot traffic too.
We did.
But I don't think it wasn't for the difficulties of performing that theater, which is literally like an empty space with nothing that you can use.
Yeah.
Like it's too much. It's like, okay, so now we have to furnish the sound system, we have to furnish all this stuff, and we have a lot of that stuff, but you know,
it was a good experience, but it was kind of stressful. That was our January show in 2016, I believe.
It was successful, but
curious.
It's really hard
about it.
Really hard to put a show together at that theater.
Because of the location, we had people walking in who had no idea who we were and just bought tickets because downtown, that's the culture.
Escondido, that's not going to happen. But we can't beat the deal at the Escondido Theater. Like they're real good to us.
Yeah, plus it's awesome staff and stuff like that.
Yep. Oh yeah, they're great.
So for a show that we know fans will come to, Escondido is definitely worth the 30-minute drive or whatever from San Diego proper.
Yeah.
And it's also for people who live in Southern California in general. Like, it's a little more accessible for someone who lives in Temecula or lives in
exactly.
For
them, it is closer than downtown.
Is it just me?
No, you can turn the air on. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Not me.
I'm just for the rain, so I'm ready to go.
Is it hot here? As people are freezing to death in other parts of the nation.
That kind of sucks. I'm sorry for anyone who's frozen in right now. That's crazy.
It's not hot here. It just was. I was just feeling.
It's about to rain. It's about to rain.
It is. It's going to rain for like a week.
It's probably.
It's
going to rain, and
it's probably going to be chilly.
Oh no!
It'll probably be about 61 here. Oh shit!
I
got this jacket on, so
nothing to complain about.
I'll be okay, I guess.
So spoiled.
I don't know. Do you have gloves?
No, literally. I'm like wearing a dress, and I was like,
I do wear gloves
so cold today. I better wear my scarf.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm really sorry to everyone listening to this.
It's going to be a chilly 72 degrees today.
If it rains, I won't be able to go hiking. It'll be all muddy.
Well, I mean, hey,
I'm sorry.
Think about this.
I sound like such an asshole.
I'll get out of work tomorrow if it rains, so that's
good. You get affordable housing wherever you are, and we don't.
That's true.
So we're paying for the weather.
Rent's coming up, and I'm gonna be very poor. So if that makes you feel any better.
I trade out the not dealing with snow for being 30 years old and not being able to afford rent.
It's one of those things like since we were born here, we don't know it. Like we've been to snow. We when we toured, we toured the one time, got caught in that. You know, they had to de-ice the plane, all that kind of crap.
Oh yeah.
Never again. It's not worth it. It wasn't worth the extra work trying to make the show happen in the snow. Where everyone else showed up, we sold out 2 theaters. It was great. It was fantastic. But for the band, it was like, I mean, I got sick because I was like, we're doing 2 shows. It was so cold.
I don't think I've ever done a Steam Powered Giraffe show in the snow with you guys. We've never had
because
that.
we don't book shows when it's going to snow. Well, sometimes.
But I did.
But, you know, it snowed some...
What was it? 2011, 2012. I went with City Ballet.
That was the end of the world.
We toured our ballet company's Nutcracker production in Reno, Nevada in December. That was not fun.
Oh, yeah, Reno, Nevada gets killed.
Luckily, me and my family and a couple friends, we rented a van and drove ourselves up there, but the rest of the company took a big company bus, and they almost went over the side. Like they when they were on the Grapevine, and like the bus like slid on the ice, and I was like, well, I'm really glad I didn't go with you guys.
I had an experience like that when I was a kid. We were driving up in Ottawa or whatever, and our truck skid off the back, and I was in the back seat of it. Like it was a van technically. I guess it wasn't a truck at all. It was a van. Then I'm in the back seat of it with my cousins, and like my uncle's like, "All right, I'm gonna go get some help." And we're like, and like looking back, I mean, there was like if we went off the edge, like there was a tree, like we would have been fine.
You would have been fine if you had gone over there.
But
no worries.
Yeah, but it was a cool experience, I guess. But we were all laughing. By 3 minutes into it, we were all making jokes. Like, I'll never see Paris. Like, I'll never have a churro. So got that out of the way quick.
Have you had a churro since?
Oh, every day of my life. Ever since that New Year Day experience, David, I never a day I don't have a churro.
Where's your favorite place to get churros?
You know what? Life's too short. You know what my favorite place to get churros?
Well, I mean, because Disneyland has the best churros, right? Okay, 100%. I'm glad that.
But there are some places in San Diego that do make churros.
I've never had a proper churro in San Diego.
Oh, yo, so
and I know there's got to be some good places.
Because the proper churro to get in San Diego is in Tijuana.
Yes.
So you go to Tijuana, and then on your way back from Tijuana, there's going to be a person selling a bag of churros, and you're going to buy those churros because they're going to be the best churros you ever had in your life. It's going to be so good.
Did you know that Bunny and I had to go to Tijuana once a month from elementary school
to
all the way through high school, pretty much?
No? Why?
Because we did our orthodontic work.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So braces and
so by the time you got back, you didn't want churros.
Actually,
you got churros, didn't
I
you?
never had churros there. Maybe once. But we never really ate there because you take so much time. It was like, and you're a school kid, so you kind of have to. We didn't really go there to visit.
But it's in the line. you have to wait in the line.
Yeah,
not all the time.
Here's
if
the
you
thing.
have a Century Pass, you're not going to be in the same line.
Back then,
it was different.
We before 9/11.
True.
The door was open. The door was
right.
open. Yeah.
You're right. It was very different.
And that's just going through, even as a white person with.
No, I know. My parents would go down there all the time before I was born, and now it's like.
And the minute that happened, I mean, we still had to go get our orthodontist work done down there, and then it turned the first few months of that, it was like 3-hour wait in this line, and you're like, well, this sucks, and it got better, but it just turned into like.
But when you wait, you're gonna get a churro because they're delicious.
I
also like the churro bites from Trader Joe's.
More on that before people.
They're
not real churros, but delicious.
I don't think I've had those.
There's a place in Kearny Mesa
I've had
called
cinnamon twist from
Churreria.
Taco Bell in the past.
It's the same thing.
Churreria, gotta try that.
And
it's in Kearny Mesa.
Also, it's a common practice. It's a common practice for dentists and orthodontists and even medical stuff if they have an office in the States, they will also have an office down sometimes in Mexico because they can do stuff cheaper there.
Yeah.
So we could have gone to this Pacific orthodontist in States, but you look at the prices and you're like, nope, we'll drive down to Tijuana.
That's a pretty common thing in San Diego.
Yeah, you see that a lot. So every once in a while, people ask me why was it? What was isn't that bad over there? Like, no,
it's just. I mean, it's just like any other place. Like every place is bad. I can make an argument for every place you go to. There's gonna be danger, but it's just keep your head on a swivel. Don't be an asshole, and you're gonna be fine.
I mean, that was at least about a decade of going there. Almost. Yeah. I mean, there was a few times when they're like, okay, come back in 2 months or something, but most of the time it was every month. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any. There's nothing. It's trashy or whatever compared to other places, and I did see in that decade dogs were mistreated a lot more over there compared you see the different stuff, but that's just you're in a touristy part of the Mexico, and it's literally you can see America through the gate. Yeah. It's right there.
I've been going down to Guadalupe, wine country down in Mexico. And it's the best, man. There's ranches out there that they'll just rent out.
I would like to go.
I've
never been to Mexico, and I've lived practically 30 minutes from the border.
To be fair,
let's go.
You want to go to places like Rosarito and stuff.
Tijuana.
You shouldn't really go to Tijuana.
Okay,
if you're looking to see the beauty of Mexico.
I've lived in San Diego my whole life, basically 40 minutes from the border, and I've never been to Tijuana, and I know I don't want to.
I imagine
go to Tijuana.
I don't know what it's kind of like.
I can't wait to go to Tijuana.
Come see the magic of California. Come see what's the crowded place here?
Let's not talk about California and or where people will live, and or Mexico where people might live as well.
No, I'm just saying
because they're both cool places. There's cool places to go to in Tijuana.
I'm just saying,
and there's shitty places to go to in Tijuana.
I'm just saying,
there's cool places to go to in Rosarito, and there's shitty places to go to in Rosarito.
There's
really cool places to go to in San Diego. There's really shitty places to go to.
I'm saying when you try to hype up where you live,
Well, no,
you never pick
Tijuana is basically San Diego.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm saying like if I go to Mexico, I want to go somewhere further south, somewhere.
Well, Mexico
a little
City,
more
like something
not
like
home to me.
You don't want
Mexico City is a really cool place.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like I wouldn't hype up El Cajon Boulevard, a lot of those places, you know, because I took the trolley there like for so many years, and like, you know, just go a little further and you'll find a little nicer place.
And people who live on El Cajon Boulevard understand the stigma, you know.
I mean, even where Steve lives isn't great. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's bad parts everywhere.
Good old
like,
City Heights.
I mean, no one lives there and is like, it's so beautiful. Like, no, it isn't.
Yeah, there's places in San Diego that I would never choose to go. Like, everywhere has its good and its bad.
Stark, yeah.
But anyways, I have been outside of Tijuana, Rosarito, and then also went to the where's the blowhole located? Yeah, there.
Yeah,
that's where the blowhole is, right?
I don't know. I've never been there.
We just said Ensenada.
I said Ensenada, yeah. That's a place I like.
So, yeah, those kind of places. Of course. Because, anyways.
I want to go down where, like, the killer whales beach themselves and go eat seals. I want to go down there.
Yeah.
Eat seals?
Yeah.
You want to eat a seal?
No. But
he wants to go where killer whales eat. They, like, beach themselves in the
orcas. I
thought the sentence was, I want to go to where the killer whales
and eat seals.
I
also want that. I want to go where the killer whales are and eat seals. That's it. That's the end of the song.
No, that'd be pretty cool.
How did we get on?
Orcas? Orcas are amazing.
Dentistry, churros.
I kind of sidestepped back.
I think we went to churros. I think it was churros. I think it was the best churro because it was Disneyland and then Tijuana.
Disneyland. I know. I'm like, what?
They're so good.
Disneyland has the best churros.
And the parks here, like the zoo and SeaWorld, are garbage churros. Oh, garbage. Filled with garbage. It's like cement.
I haven't had a churro in a while. Probably the last one I had was at like a theme park when I was a kid or something. But I never had one at Disneyland that I can remember.
Oh, what? It's the only thing I wanted is Disneyland.
Okay, next time we go, you're getting a churro.
But I'm not really a snack person. I don't really eat things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like snacks?
Snacks.
No, just... I like my stomach to feel nice afterwards.
You don't like snacks?
Yeah. I judge.
I like a snack. I like snacks.
I mean, I imagine. I know the taste and the texture of a hot churro. Like I can imagine it because I've had one in my life.
So good.
Sounds like a good snack.
When you get them fresh, they like melt in your mouth.
But I never like crave anything like that.
Yeah, but when I go to Disneyland, I'm like, first thing I want is not first thing, but like eventually I'm getting a churro.
Heck
you know what I crave? Like a hearty meal. I
Sure.
crave that more than anything else.
Yeah, I feel like poor David. The last few times I've gone to Disneyland with you, you've had really bad food experiences. We tried when Coco came out, they had like that Mexican festival stuff. It was so bad, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm from San Diego. Why did I think I would get good Mexican food
Disneyland,
here?
I don't know.
No, it was bad. But
you're also pressured in like how long is the line?
Yeah, that
else?
makes a lot of difference too. Like,
and like, this is new, and like this is like they took a thing of salt.
Oh, it was awful.
And shaped it into a taco.
Just go get a turkey leg.
Lamplight Lounge just opened, and they have really good food.
I'm just not convinced that Disneyland has good food now because I haven't
gotta get the salmon PLT at Lamplight Lounge. It's really swanky for Disneyland.
Even if it's good, it's not that great. Like even if it's good for Disneyland, I'm like it's not great for.
No, you would have to go to like Napa Rose.
Yeah.
That's that like really upscale place in the Grand Californian Hotel. You can get good food outside the parks, but like I've never been to Napa Rose because it's so expensive. They serve rabbit and stuff like they're.
What?
Oh yeah. And it's like you like look inside and
it's called like Bugs Bunny.
No, it'd be called Oswald. Don't you know anything about Disney?
There's like no one ever in there.
They're serving it on a plate. You think they're gonna serve one of their properties? They're gonna serve out Bugs Bunny. They're chopping up the competition.
Fair enough.
David, don't you understand how jokes work? I'm talking about.
Anyway,
wait, has there been a title so far in this? Tijuana Bug. David Bennett. No, don't quote me on that.
No, they're just gonna repeat that. We're gonna get a loop pedal and loop that. If we did a loop pedal show, that's what I would loop.
I'm just saying, like we have time. There's a lot of times when you're not supposed to go out on the beach, probably from now until ever because of sewage spills and stuff. Like
true.
I'm just saying, like San Diego's nice, but it ain't that nice.
It's true. I mean, you can't. In IB, you just like can't go in the water. It's like no, just don't go there. It's a beautiful beach. You look at it, it's like, oh man, it's amazing. Like no, don't go in that water. Yeah. You see that plant right there? That's where just dump it right here.
Oh my god!
In this water, and then don't go in that.
I still like feel sick to my stomach when I remember being a kid snorkeling in Mission Bay and accidentally gulping down a big gulp of water. Like I still feel ill when I think about that.
I don't paddle. I don't paddleboard because the first time I tried paddleboarding, I was in Mission Bay and I fell off and I went into the bay and I was sticky for like 2 weeks. And that's not something I ever want. And like
Mission Bay's man-made too, so it's,
yeah,
you know.
it's gross. It's so gross.
Although there was a flaming. Oh no!
I remember snorkeling and watching the little fish, and that's about as much as it wasn't a great experience. I saw some fish.
Although there is some great snorkeling in La Jolla Cove.
Oh yeah, La Jolla.
That's where we filmed Honeybee.
Yes.
La Jolla? Really?
La Jolla Cove.
Does everyone
La Jolla Shores.
does everyone assume?
That's the same?
No,
La Jolla
wait. You
Shores?
always said it was Sunset Cliffs. That's like Ocean.
Sunset Cliffs
That's
is
OB.
OB.
Ocean Beach.
Sure.
That's south
what
of
the
La
cliffs
Jolla.
are.
You know what? The fans are already correcting anyways when
It's
they're listening to
Sunset
that.
Cliffs.
They're like, how do you not even know? You like recommend it all the time. Like, well, whatever.
I-
Whatever.
No,
What, you think I've been there? Like-
Sunset. Well,
It's
you
Sunset
told me you.
Cliffs. It
You
is.
shot it at Sunset
It is.
Cliffs.
We did.
That's
It's
not
a-
La Jolla.
It's 100%.
We did.
Okay.
We that's where we filmed. That's where we recorded Captain Albert Alexander stuff.
Oh, La Jolla.
Yes.
Okay.
Where
No,
the
the waves
the
and
children's
stuff.
the children's
The children's pool.
Yeah.
That's where the seals hang out.
That's
yeah.
what I was getting.
Okay.
Confused.
That's what-
The ocean sounds. We actually recorded those
Yeah.
ourselves, even though we could have just gone online, got stock
OB,
stuff.
PB.
Yeah, OB
What's
is
the other
what
one?
Sunset
MB,
Cliffs is.
Mission Beach.
So
is
Sunset
gross.
Cliffs would be a tough place. Even then, it was probably a tough place
Yeah.
to film. But like now,
It
it's just
was like it was middle of the day.
it's
but
just
you're right, yeah.
impossible. There's just every cliff. There's some couple like taking a selfie
Yeah.
on it. You're just like, dang man.
I don't know.
You can't
It
just
was a
enjoy
different
it.
time.
That was like that's like in high school. That was like we called it the edge of the continent, man. We would just because my homie lived on just on the street. We'd go sit on the cliff and like we sit on the edge of
Yeah.
the continent and like just kick it.
It's
Like
wild
that was a
when you
cool.
think about that.
It's a very cool experience. Like we're like our feet are dangling off the edge of this like
Yeah.
vast thing. You know.
Oh, I know. I never go to the beach because I've lived here my
Yeah.
whole life, and it's like it's lost its novelty.
Uh.
But whenever I do find myself at the beach, like it's so
Very
cliche,
cool.
but standing there on the shore, just looking out onto the horizon, is
It's
just like
just the
creates
best.
this like not horrible. I don't know why I said horrible. This magical feeling.
It's magical, horrible feeling.
Magical horror. Because like you're just
Just
staring
terrifying,
out. There's
wonderful
nothing.
feeling.
There's nothing out there until you hit the islands and I mean basically
my
Asia. It's like whoa, I'm on the edge of the world.
Which is also why I don't want to go on a boat and get lost in the middle of the sea. It'll be the worst.
Well, don't have a captain with you.
Captain, but what if the captain? What if he's not the captain? What if I'm the captain now? Look at me, I'm captain now. You know, look at
Are
me.
you
I'm-
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I'm captain. Yeah. You ever see Captain Phillips? It's about the Austrian pirates. Just look at me. I am captain. I am the captain. Tom Hanks, no. Tom Hanks, if we join together, we could stop global warming.
A lot of people thought he should have got like an Oscar or something for that.
He didn't.
Yeah.
For Captain Phillips?
For one of those scenes at the end.
If you watch the end of Captain Phillips and then tell me that Tom Hanks isn't a good actor, I'll slap you in the face because
Never seen it. I need to
that's
see
okay.
it.
It's because
Yeah.
it's not like the whole movie's not that
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
but like when he gets rescued, there's a moment that like he breaks down that just like it's impeccable. It's impeccable. I don't know. He's just an incredible actor.
Well, love me some Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
Gotta
so-
watch that.
So what's on the horizon for steam powered Giraffe?
Oh,
What is on the horizon for steam powered?
Well, we've teased some stuff on our Patreon stuff. We're trying to get some tours going this year. We've never really done too many tours, so we're trying like 5 shows in a row. We'll see if it pans out this year, hopefully.
You know, we don't have any dates yet.
But our show calendar right now it's pretty much just Anime Midwest is what we have confirmed for this year.
no, it'll be fun.
So we don't have anything else to announce for shows. Obviously, we're working on lots of stuff that we've been sharing with our Patreons and engineer tiers too. But everyone knows pretty much that we're working towards an album.
Not me. I'm twiddling my thumbs.
And we've had new songs come up in the last years, and then two this year. So it's getting there.
Yeah, they haven't. We premiered some new ones in Denver in June last year. Like, we changed to the opening of the show.
Oh yeah, we
like,
brought
added-
some older.
So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
the songs that weren't brand new for the Echo Engine are still making their rounds. It hasn't been a year yet since we
Well,
introduced them.
the-
So a lot of the set is different.
Yeah, Steamboat. We haven't done that one in a while.
Yeah.
Echo Engine was it's a very new.
Yeah,
newish
yeah,
show.
lots of new stuff.
And what you should all out there keep a lookout for is the vinyl release of the 2 Cent Show album. We're gonna start pre-orders for that soon. We just want to get a mock-up of the graphics for it, which is not the most important thing, but so people can see like, oh yeah, it'll be a gatefold 2-disc, a double LP, and all that. So yeah, look for that. That'll probably be December 2019 is our shipping date, but it'll probably be like November or something similar to.
It'll be 2020.
Music for SteamWorld Heist. I think we started manufacturing around June, July.
Yeah.
Pre-orders were in March, and then we were shipping them in November. So it'll be similar to that. You know, you just have to allow a little bit of time for a double one.
A double?
Yep. I think that's
a double.
And hey, if you like watching us doing this podcast monthly live, or you want to see the video of it because we also archive it, you don't have to watch it live if you don't want.
What? You have to watch it live.
You become a Patreon on the Steam Powered Giraffe Patreon page. We haven't actually advertised it in a while.
A Patreon page?
www.patreon.com/SteamPoweredGiraffe.
Are you proud of your Patreon page?
I mean, guess. I mean, it's more a vehicle for people to support us. I don't know if it's like
I'm proud of
a work of art.
I'm proud of the patronage that is provided on Patreon.
Sure, proud of the
Patriots.
You're proud of the patrons.
The Patreon.
It sounds weird to be proud of the people who are supporting you.
I'm proud of the.
I'm proud of them. I'm proud that they made the right choice.
I'm proud of the Patriots that is paid for through the power of Patreon.
I think humbled is a better word to use.
No, it's not, because it's not alliteration.
Okay.
Trying to go with P words here.
I'm humbled for the handouts.
Well, there we go.
Humbled for the handouts.
I'm humbled for
Is that the title?
the handouts.
No.
That have given. Humble for the handouts.
That's
a great title. If it's not a title for this, I'm going to use it for my hip-hop album.
Humble for the handouts.
Humble for the handouts.
Do you want to make a hip-hop album?
To be blunt, humble for the handouts.
Yeah.
That's my hip-hop character. He's not very
good. Is it spelled two?
Yeah, of course it is.
Wait, to be blunt
like,
is
to
the
be
character
blunt.
name?
Yeah.
Okay,
or
so
is it TOO?
He's not very good at rapping, but like he'll compliment you a lot. Like he's not very good at rhyming, but he's just like he's really positive. He'll just compliment you.
Nice.
Your ear's real nice.
Yeah. To be blunt, you have a real nice hairdo. Oh my God, your parents must be so proud of you. To be blunt, they raised such an amazing son. I can't believe.
Character.
Wow, look at that smile on your face. Has everyone seen this? To be blunt.
I love it.
That's humble handouts.
It could be a sketch. You need the same.
It's totally a sketch.
Beat loop. So every time that happens, everyone's like, ah! I can imagine it on SNL.
To be blunt, he's not very good at rapping, but boy is he positive.
There's a formula that you notice in some of the new SNL sketches that they're like, yep, let's do what's the one that Keenan does the
I don't watch SNL.
What's up with that?
Oh, what's up with that?
You know, it seems like a pretty easy formula.
Yeah. Should we call SNL?
No. All right. What time do we got?
We've got about half an hour.
We have a lot of questions.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah.
Rapid fire through these questions.
So this is a perk of being a Patreon.
Yeah, I mean we still have the engineer tier site,
yeah.
but it's just Patreon is more so mainstream now. It was stupid of us to only have one site, so we run both at the same. And Patreon does have more benefits because there's higher tiers. Engineer tier is like one tier, so you get a little less than some of the higher tiers of Patreon, but they're basically the same. In fact, both engineer tiers and Patreons are watching this live right now.
Yes,
and they both get our type of stuff. But we have questions for.
We have questions.
I think it's
submitted.
Is it at the $10 tier or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's the $10 tier. I have them all listed here. They so like once a month we post like
First question, Brian. You seem to drink a lot of water. Are you a thirsty boy?
Boy, howdy.
I think I drink more water than you. Is it
proof? You think you drink more water than me?
I think so.
Is that a challenge?
It's about to go
I feel like
number one.
I feel like no matter where I go, I drink the most water out of everyone.
Number one, every time I come to your house, I say, "Hey, David, you have any water?" You say, "No, I don't have any water."
Because I drank it all.
I don't know. Michael Reed sure does burn through water.
You're right, but that's
I remember
different.
one time I didn't have any water because he drank it all.
No, that's different though because if I wasn't singing and having to do stuff on stage, I'd be drinking water because I'm thirsty the whole show.
I was born,
especially after singing.
You know that scene in like Big Fish? He's like, "I was born thirsty." He's like in the that's me. Like as soon as I heard that, I never related to any line in my life.
Do you ever?
I was like, "Oh, I was born thirsty."
You ever like doing something?
Me too.
Maybe you're laying in bed. Maybe you're watching TV or something, and then you just get a thirst come over you, and you take a drink of water, and it goes in so fast and it's so quenching. It's like the last water you'll ever have.
Oh my gosh, yes, every day of my life.
I get that so often. I'm like, what is that? What is that?
When I wake up in the morning, my mouth's so dry.
like,
I'm like,
I can't swallow. It's
but that too. But like, it's almost like I like double how much water I'm putting into me. I'm drinking it like, oh, and I'm like,
well,
oh, it's so
okay.
good.
I will say this. I lived most of my life without.
Someone's gonna make a gif out about us doing that.
Yeah, I lived most of my life with no air conditioning in my house.
Oh yeah,
and then suddenly
too.
when we got central air, I realized, I wake up in the middle of the night just so thirsty.
It
happens with the heater
The AC and the heater
just
dry you out.
Just a life.
If you live without that, you're like more hydrated more often.
It's just, but my dad was also born in New Orleans, so like. And when I go to New Orleans or places where it's really humid, I'm like, oh my goodness, like maybe I'm supposed to live here
because you're not as dry.
Maybe my DNA was supposed to be in.
Well,
like I was made to live in. It's just we're living in a desert.
Yeah, we're in a desert.
Every day I wake up, I'm like,
I mean, to be fair, it's not Las Vegas bad, but it's still a desert.
Can you imagine like not having to deal with like Santa Ana winds?
Oh my god!
Like I can sing it all year, like 'cause that's like during November, like September. It's like it's tough. You wake up and you're just like I can't.
No, yeah, and on stage too. I mean, if you put hazers and stuff, like every show we have in San Diego.
But like in New Orleans, you just live in like a swamp. Like.
I know.
When
I feel like a mummy.
When we went to Florida,
I live just in this state of cracking.
Being hydrated when we did a show in Florida was not a problem.
Yeah, not at all.
It felt like
you just siphon it from the air. You're like, oh, that's good. I just need a little sip.
I'd rather be dry than sweaty.
Anyways, we were gonna go into questions.
That's right.
So these are, I think, the $10 tier, which I believe we've cutesily named.
Cutesily?
Giraffe on a hot 10 roof? No, that's not what it is.
Who's Big Daddy?
It's something like that. It's something.
Wait.
$5.
No, $5.
Oh, 10-gallon
10-gallon
giraffe hat.
Giraffe hat. Okay.
And there's nice little art. So if you want to, even if you don't want to support us, or it's just not something you want to do, or you don't have the money, like go look at the art on the Patreon page for those. Because
would you say that you're proud of your paintings on your Patreon page?
Yeah, we had Gabby Gonzalez do those, who's done some other art for us, and yes, because I was like, can you make a giraffe that's like a cowboy hat?
Did you propose this painting of pride? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done.
Okay, first question.
It wasn't that fun to begin with.
Let's not forget. What's the title?
Digging into it.
Humbled for handouts.
Humbled for handouts.
All right.
Sounds like a musical.
So here's our Bennettarium questions submitted by Patreon patrons.
Okay, good. My hands are on my hip. I'm ready to go.
Let's rapid fire. We're
not to rapid
or
fire.
Not. I don't know. There's a lot of them.
Rapid fire.
Okay. No. Take your time.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No.
All right. Kestrel North asks, sorry if this question has already been answered. Did you have to change a lot of harmonies in your songs to account for Brian's lower vocal range? Actually, did you have to change any harmonies when Sam started playing Hatchworth as well?
Only a few. I think less with Sam because his voice was in the higher register. But there's been a few songs where you're like, I think this would sound better with Brian on the lower one.
Yeah.
But you know what? It really came down to like, well, Bunny already knows these other harmonies, so if there's something
working around him, yeah.
And we've done that a few times, like posthumously too, even when we've done a show and we're like, let's do this, let's do that. But I think going forward when we write songs, it's a lot easier to like see, this sounds better there.
Write them for our voices.
So it's less than I think people imagine,
right.
but we have done it a few times. But I couldn't point to anything in particular. Maybe I think mostly you've taken pretty much all of
the only one that we is in the new set is Steamboat. That's the only one that the harmonies are changed on. Everything else is. Yeah,
and sometimes it's not like changing anyone else's harmonies. It's just like taking like doing an octave of it's still the harmonies there. It's just instead of this, it looks more like this. How do you?
It's like this. When it was like this.
I really hope someone's screen capping that.
Okay. Anyways, good question.
Right.
What was their name?
Kestrel North.
Kestrel North.
All right. Next question.
Wait, did they actually? Because sometimes they put their name before.
Yeah, I'm reading they put it before the question.
Oh, so they want their username. They want to be known as their username. That's good.
Yes, I think most people, it looks like they're putting their name before the question.
It's whatever you want us to shout out on the podcast.
Yes. Next one. Caveman Trivia asks, this may be an odd question, but how do you guys safely transport your makeup for travel?
In a bag.
Yeah. I have like a a canvas travel bag. That's all.
Ziploc, and it's not,
and Ziplocs too,
and it's in our carry.
Yeah,
it's not on our carry-ons. It's in our.
No, yeah,
it's on the checked luggage.
It's on checked luggage. That's about it.
Yeah,
it stays pretty safe.
I keep the silver and all that stuff in a Ziploc bag. And then I put that in the canvas bag, the makeup bag, and everything's in the blacks.
Oh, that's actually kind of.
It's all a little separately, so because that silver will get everywhere.
Gets everywhere. Oh
yeah,
man!
Even when you have it closed.
I don't have anything currently. I don't use any makeup that is subject to leaking. I don't have any like liquids.
Yeah.
Just the cream and mascara and crayon eyeliners and powders and stuff. So all my stuff stays pretty safe in the canvas bag. That's
There's
all
been
I use.
one or two times when like maybe somehow the top of my alcohol solution like burst. And it just got everywhere in the bag.
Well, that's not so bad.
But
it's just alcohol.
Yeah. But, you know, it kind of ruins some of the makeup.
Yeah.
But mostly in the last 10 years, 11 years.
It's not that hard to travel.
I haven't had much issues with just keeping them in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Next question.
Soap on the other hand. You get a
Yeah.
broken bottle there.
Oh my gosh.
It's everywhere. I saw soap.
I had to throw away a whole makeup
Shampoo?
bag.
All soap
My
goes in a
shampoos
single
will like
bag.
leak all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, I don't ever put them in anything else.
Because the worst thing you could have is like a bag full of soap, and you're like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's
Oh yeah.
Well, my
So
toothbrush is in
gross.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Oh, I never pack my toothbrush with
no.
my soaps
Oh,
and
no, no,
shampoos
no.
because those explode all the
No,
time.
no.
we're getting some good questions here.
All right.
Important questions.
Only things that we deal with when we travel, and no one else on the face of the earth.
Kindy asks, "Will we ever get more lore on Kazoo Land?"
I mean, we have headcanons ourselves. I mean, it's not really headcanons because whatever we come up with is pretty much, but we don't really focus on that too much with the live show. So, of course, we'll always add more to it, but as far as a vehicle to showcase that kind of stuff, there really isn't anything going right now. We have the comic that's kind of like we reached a conclusion where we can safely like not continue it, but we have those stories written, so we know more than probably what we're letting on, but we've given hints and stuff through like the website and stuff. But for the casual fan, all of it's like irrelevant basically.
I mean, yeah, I'm a bad fan. I barely know what Kazoo Land is, but that doesn't, you know, obviously people like my parents, friends who come see the show, it's not like any of that is necessary to know.
And it wouldn't be good for us to put that in the show in the first place, because then you're making a show for people who have to know a lot about the band. And we're just trying to get our name out there. So
you want to do what you mean, and no matter what, how deep into fandom you are, you want to be able to do a show that stands alone.
Yeah.
You know,
for
it's
sure.
like no matter how cool your series is, if I can't just watch an episode and like enjoy that episode, then it's not really that great of a series. You know.
Yeah, because then you're relying on the lore and people's imaginations.
Right. But as far as my understanding goes, Kazoo Land and like the backstory was basically just a way for you all within the band to kind of like build a base on the stories, and it's not like you wrote it all with the intention of like publishing it all for the fans, right?
Yeah,
and it's just more about like throwing the information out there when someone asks.
We did sit down with John, Aaron, Bunny, and I did, and like here's our idea for like, because we wanted to like
a
solidify
backstory.
a very like so we could always fall back on that like pretty early on, like maybe I don't know 6 months into performing at Balboa Park, just because we were like, well, we can change all this, but and we haven't really changed much from that initial idea. Like we did, like we kind of had ideas of like, and it was just so we could, if we ever made anything from that, it would, that we could stem from that, and that's kind of worked for us. Because if we, I mean, you know, we had the idea for the comic book. The comic book kind of has those stuff, and you can kind of see where the plot would be going, I guess. But we just never assumed it would finish at a certain date, because that's not what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, but
it's kind of just supplemental.
People don't like us because we have a comic book. I don't think
yeah.
it's because we have a stage show.
It's
and
just
albums,
like fun to read about, but like there's not really anything new brewing.
With that said, obviously we like all that stuff.
Land,
It's just
there's not enough time in the world.
There isn't. It exists on its own, and I think that's how it is now. Is kind of what the fun is. It, and you know what, we've kind of touched on a little bit of that with like the radio adventures and stuff. And you never know, we could as well.
Look, man, you don't want to J.K. Rowling it and be like, all right, now Kazoo Land, everyone poops in Kazoo Land in the pants, and then it just rubs right out.
And Peter Walter, when he made those portals, they were like, we don't need toilets anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to, just portal your poop right out.
All right.
Are you proud of your portal poops?
All right, we got another question. Oh, this question.
And also, the robots are imprisoned. They're. What was that thing with the snake lady? Or
oh my god, you're actually humans, but you're just cursed to be robots.
I don't know. Whatever. They were imprisoned, and
Let's not talk about that.
Anyways,
Nakini.
Anyway, sorry.
The Jawas yell.
Nakini. Utini.
Oh, Utini. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. This is another question from submitted by Kestrel North, but the question is from Little Bear. My daughter Little Bear has a question. This is from their daughter. I hope it's okay if I ask it for her. She would like to know where you got your inspiration for your costumes.
Oh, okay. Well, I think when we started, it was just whatever we had lying around that looked costumey. So that was like, it's most acts pick your formal attire, and most people have black because funerals, I guess. I don't know.
Black is
everyone owns
nice.
black. Yeah, it looks nice.
Black is beautiful, baby.
So we started there and we were like, red would be a nice accent, but we didn't add the red came a little later as we started developing the costume. So I think the inspiration was it needs to look costumey, it needs to look a little bit timeless, but at the same time, you know, it has to look character.
Well, it's
it has
very
to look
theatrical.
Costumey. Yeah.
The red really makes it look theatrical and not because not most people don't walk around in everyday life wearing black and red, so it looks very like more formal.
You want it
like
to
said.
look. You want it to look showy.
Yeah.
Unless you're a real gamer. Only black and red.
But yeah, so the inspiration comes from, I mean, lots of different things like Art Deco stuff for some of the. I think the designs of like the makeup and the costumes together. There's a lot of like futurism in some of the, but it all kind of coheses together. It's none of it's on the nose. It's not like we don't have gears on our heads or something. You know, it just looks tacky. And plus we would just be bottled as we were steampunk.
Yeah.
And you know, when I see that stuff, it's like, well, that's fine for like those acts, but for us, we're not in the Victorian times. We're in modern day. The robots are just putting on a show there, and that's kind of important to us because it's like, well, why would we wear big gears and stuff? Like, I mean, even if that was like the aesthetic where you in this fantasy Victorian time, like now you're in the modern day.
That's our innards. Why would you wear your innards on your outwards?
I've seen other people, you know, they were like, oh, we're time travelers. So I was like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. You're like, you that's how you look where you come from. So for us, it's like they dressed up these robots so you can watch the show in 2019.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been since the get-go because, I don't know, because we think about that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Even when we couldn't and we just had to like pull a black jacket out or a dress shirt, it was kind of like, you know, we still had those thoughts in our minds. So inspiration, I don't know. I don't know. That's who knows?
Just kind of.
We don't have an answer.
It stemmed from wearing black because it looks theatrical, and then it just built itself from there.
Yep.
Cool.
Next question.
Next question.
All right. Bridget asks, did the 10-year anniversary show, which was wonderful, bring some closure and peace to those people who wanted to see the John back in the band, or are you still getting the same level of woe?
I don't know. Ask those people.
Yeah. It's I mean, obviously I think we've probably commented on this in the band like you know, like you know, well, we did right by the characters and stuff, and especially past members, like it was for fans who wanted that experience. Well,
the thing is, no one's ever going to get over it because it's something that they can't have, and it's something that is in the past and is set in stone, kind of. So it's like if you had that character back, you wouldn't be what you expected.
Yeah,
you know, it's just the lack of having something makes you want something so much more. It's
I mean, it's the same thing when Aaron left before John left. You know, like we didn't even have much of we sold like 100 maybe 200 copies of that album, if you think digital, maybe a little more, before we changed it for the zoo and stuff. But like, you know, it's not like we had anything to show other than people remember from Balboa Park or maybe a few videos. So with John, there's a little more meat there to like be nostalgia for. So I mean, I don't blame anyone for that kind of stuff.
No one is ever going to be 100. I mean, a fan base is never going to be like 100% satisfied. I mean, there's always going to be one faction, one person who has an opinion.
And from our point of view, like
the
thoughts of like when John left and the reactions to that, and even like years, it's like Bunny and I, who've been in the longest, like it's the same stuff that happened when we came out with 2 Cent Show and everyone was still in the band. Like it was like, this isn't as good as their first stuff, and that's just you. So you kind of start like, oh, there'll always be people like that, and you don't blame them for their opinion. Like, of course, everyone comes to a conclusion for however they feel, and it's completely correct for their whatever. But you know, it's the same thing over and over again. It'll happen no matter what we did if we stay together. Or not.
I just like,
it's just some. It's not that people don't like change. It's like, you know, even I might not have interest in something because something changes that might not be that important, but somehow changes it for me. Like, not really interested anymore.
Yeah, totally.
So whatever.
It's just funny because like the question is basically, did that satisfy the fans or were they still unhappy? And it just reminded me of like how I was saying like, well, no one's ever going to be 100% happy because like the feedback was overwhelmingly positive to see them back for that one show. But I remember seeing one comment online that was like, I don't know, this doesn't feel sincere. It's like they're just pandering to the old fans. And I was like, it just shows that no matter what you do, and like no matter how sincere you are and how right you think you're doing by the fans, someone is going to read it wrong.
And
I was like, what?
I mean, it's kind of like our posters, like, and you know, see these other people, but you really should come to the other one.
It was just so funny to me because it's like what those people had been wanting forever, and when it happened, they were suspicious of it. It was so weird.
Like, we got and we're like, okay, John, we'll pay you a ton of money. Let's just pretend like we had a fun time at rehearsal together. We'll take Instagram pictures.
You better smile.
That's basically what they were implying. Like he was forced to do it or something.
Well, it's like,
but I'm laughing because it was one comment.
From
it's
the
not
outside
like,
looking in, it's like everyone's got their own opinions of what's going to happen.
Anyway,
like,
but I mean, no, most people were very happy, and
I think with stuff like that, you'd really want to ask the question of like, well, I don't think that's like what to expect of people. I think that to get that across is like, no one should expect that ever from anyone. Like, people will be unhappy with anything, of course. We did what we thought was cool thing to do for 10-year anniversary.
Yeah,
and it was.
And I should mention that you can buy that video just because like last week I saw someone online who asked me on the official Tumblr if we were planning to release video of the 10-year show. So we're getting new fans all the time. I just want to remind people that you can buy that video and see that 10-year concert. You can buy it from our website digitally or physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
And
pushing the merch.
And one final thought, like we old nostalgia too for that kind of stuff, and we obviously have products that have other stuff. I mean, 2 Cent Show Vinyl should show like we're not like retconning things or something, but we're onward and upwards with the current lineup because that's only makes sense to work on. I mean, otherwise we would just be like, nah, we're not gonna do any more shows. We're just gonna
greatest hits forever and ever.
Yeah, like no,
here's another greatest hits album.
I mean, yeah, we're working towards the current lineup. We all want to make something special together, and you know.
All right, how much time we got? A couple minutes.
No, I don't know. We can no.
I'll read
we got to get through.
Okay,
all these.
okay. Next one, Abby.
If it goes longer, it's too bad.
Yeah.
People really had a lot of questions because it was the first month that we had it, so I think it's
All right, Abby.
Well, let's pare down our answers a little bit.
Yeah. Abby asks, a lot of artists have unique rituals and habits, going for long runs, writing nude, using standing desks only, etc. What are some of your routines when all of you get ready to write songs? Who do you think has the weirdest creative process of the group?
When we're writing songs?
I don't think there's anything weird.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, I think we do. It's all pretty. It's similar. Like usually come up with a melody first in your head. Sometimes you might use a piano or a guitar or maybe not an instrument, just your voice humming to something.
True.
Come up with lyrics later.
But there's no like voodoo that I go to.
I don't think any of us.
No one here is writing in the nude.
I mean, I use a standing desk, but I don't. But that's just because of my back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's just when something hits you, you gotta write it. Like that's like if I'm standing at a desk in the nude and something hits me, then that's what's going on, you know. But it's like
I like that about technology though. Like if I have an idea, like I'll quickly go to my voice recorder and record a little thing, and then that'll be it. And then I'm on with my day, and I'll come back to it, and I'll be like,
huge, because there's so many ideas that get lost, and being able to speak it or like that's a big part. That's a big help.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Next one is a little bit of a two-parter. It looks like River asks, you guys have probably answered this one before, but how did Brian join SBG? Did he show interest or did someone ask him to be in it?
We didn't approach him. Believe It or Not.
Oh.
Which sounds like, come on, Brian, please do it. I can imagine that scenario too, I suppose.
True.
But why would we force it? Why would we want someone to want to be?
Yeah.
You asked me to play drums once in the past, and I was like, I don't think I could do that for a band.
And then we had Sam.
We asked Sam to do it.
We were like, he doesn't know how to play drums either.
He could, yeah. Yeah, it was they posted something on their personal Facebooks about it. And I was like, yeah, it was at the, just like certain times in my life, it just didn't make sense. But because I had done a switch from doing theater to just doing music, I thought it'd be a good fit for me. So I messaged David to see what was going on, and then hit me back. We did a little like chat online real quick, and then we met up and sang through a couple songs.
Yep.
And that was it. Yeah. So yeah. Cool.
Yep. One more question from the same person, River. Do you think that once you're finished performing the Echo Engine, is there going to be a video we can buy? I would die to see it, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to any shows.
I mean, it's a possibility, but we'll see. Like, if we have a show that we think would work better for a video, sure. But it's a possibility. We have no plans right now on what the next concert video that we'll record will be. And that's just because we did 3 last year. Well, one of them was like an old one that we brought back to finish, but
that and on top of like the live shows that we did like on YouTube, there's a lot of that.
We want to space it out because we have a lot of
content.
We have a lot of the show right now, and so and Echo Engine is a show that we could easily remount with other songs or it's a loose plot that just happens to have more of a story to it than most of our shows.
All right. AJ asks, have you guys considered adding more puppet or CG characters projected on screens into your shows? If you were to make a new character, what would they be?
Well, both Bebop is technically a puppet, but I guess he is a little more digital now.
He's a digital puppet now.
Kind of. Well, that too. But as far as what he's in the show, he's still a filmed puppet. His mouth is synced up digitally, though.
Yeah, I don't know what you could do besides CG or puppets.
Yeah, I mean, there's ideas, but it doesn't
to add more characters.
For whatever the show is, like, there's no way we'd be able to fly out another puppet or something.
Also, it's not we don't always have screens and stuff like that. So sometimes Bebop and Quartic don't make it on stage. So like adding more characters like that is problematic sometimes.
If the show. If it relied heavily on it, we couldn't do some shows.
Right.
So
there's like new stuff in Echo Engine. There's new stuff in Echo Engine, 100%.
We could in the future if we in a bigger show, sure, of course, we could add whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't be limited by that. But I don't think the show's hindered by not being able to do that kind of stuff. We still can play our songs.
All right. Hope asks, what's your favorite comfort item if you have one, like a special pillow, blanket, stuffed animal, etc.?
I like my bed. Just and everything that involves in the bed, the pillows, the blanket, the bed,
I don't think I really
the
have
Tempur-Pedic mattress. It all feels like
it's the home.
The best.
Can't say I really have something like that.
My home is my comfort item. Like
exactly.
That's like
my bed.
That's it. Like there's nothing about my home that is uncomfortable, and everything about it is everything I love.
When I plop down in my bed for the night, I'm done.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I keep hitting your knee.
It's because.
All right.
I have my legs long, I guess.
Firefeather asks.
Oh, my.
Oh, we kind of touched on this earlier. Firefeather asks, are there any updates on your ballpark timeframes for the tour by location? Nope.
I think whatever we posted on Patreon, which I think we'll just keep that with Patreon. Was an exclusive post on November that we said. We gave an estimated time, but there's still just that. We don't want to disappoint people. That's why.
Yeah.
Like we could say some stuff, but it would just be heartbreaking for people. It wouldn't be good until we actually have something in stone.
No.
Proto Jones asks, kind of a double question, but how did Michael first join back in 08 or 09, and what brought about him rejoining back in 2017?
So Mike was a friend of John Sprague, and even before we were doing Steam Powered Draft stuff, like I hung out with Mike and John a lot. Video games and stuff. I don't know a lot, but enough times during my college days.
Yeah.
And then when we started working on, we started talking about it during filming like one of our earliest Scary World music videos, which is right when we were starting to do the mime stuff. It wasn't even robots. So like, hey, maybe we can work with him doing a live show. And anywho, so when we got together with him doing album 1, and we started just, it was like a test, and then we just like, yeah, let's finish the whole album together, and that's where it started. And then he's played some live shows with us. I don't know if it happened first or what the order anymore, but that's where we knew him from, was hanging out with John. So it was they're kind of like a pair, you know. Like I always knew Mike because I knew John, and then he came back because we approached him. We were like, for our next album, we were like, or playing live was, I guess, what we first came. It was like, hey, we have other shows that we're booked for like up till 2018 or so. You wanna do any local shows we do with us? Just because.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the 3-person stuff on stage, and we thought so, and then I don't know, we just slowly worked him back in.
Yeah.
Because before when we first we stopped touring with us and stuff, we were getting rid of him and the drummer from the live show, so we could do more shows.
And slimming down the act. And
it worked. I mean, we got to do more shows because that's 2 extra people we didn't have. Yeah. And at the time, you know, we were working on an album by ourselves without Mike and stuff, so it only made sense to be
it wasn't some like huge grand plan, but it just felt like the right time to reintroduce the backing musician, like with you coming into the group new and like so much fresh energy.
I think the conversation went like this, like, what do you think about having Mike for this local show?
Yeah. And I knew Mike, you know, from back in the day too. So it's like I've got a good relationship with Mike, so I think that makes it easy
and
easy to work.
The same thing too. Like I've been in touch with him even after. Exactly. Like there hasn't been a time when we haven't been like sending emails back and forth. So.
Yeah. Okay. I think this one might be for Bunny. Mitch asks, what happened with Jeff Wayne?
Oh yeah,
I'll keep that one.
You have to ask that one again.
All right, I'll
for
keep
next
that
month.
around.
Unfortunately,
is that Bruce Wayne's brother?
Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. Wow, cool.
That musical rock album.
Yeah.
Jules asks, has any of you actually hit another member when doing the bit where you beat each other up?
I mean, I've come in contact, but there's never been a full force or anything. It's been like a knuckle, like, you know, or because they stop.
We're definitely hitting. We're definitely hitting them, but like not like hitting them.
Yeah, I feel like the stuff, but not. I've never been injured.
I got hit by Bunny once in the by accident. It was the malfunction bit, the where Camille hits her with the wrench, and she was like flailing her arms, and I just stepped too close to her or something, and like, but it didn't hurt or anything. That's about all that's ever happened to me. This was also from Jules. Sorry, I didn't notice it was a 2-part question. Do you have any advice on managing that work/life/creative endeavor balance? Avenues of income, all that.
It's probably different for all of us too.
Yeah. I mean, I have a second job outside of Steam Power Giraffe, but yeah. Just making ends meet.
Well, I don't know what advice other than like
depends on your age too and how financially stable you are.
And what you're doing. Like, are you trying to do music? You trying to do like art? Like just be very aware of your art is probably not going to make enough money for you to survive off of. So be sure you have backup plans. Yeah. Or if this is what you 100%, 1,000 times can't not live without, then like be prepared to live on very little, because it's a very feast and famine industry. So when you're making money, don't question it. Make that money and save it, because you'll never know when you're not going to have it. And that's just how this industry goes. It's very up and down. It's very all over the place. And if you're not 100% committed to it, then don't even bother with it, because this is what I have to do. This is what my life is. And so like I make unreasonable decisions to do things like to make it work. But like, you know, just be.
And not everyone owns their own company. So if you're trying to run your own business and stuff, it's a whole other
different thing. Yeah.
So I think if you're just starting out, like you should definitely try to make ends meet. Yeah. And then just keep in mind, like, because we started Steam Powered Giraffe, like that was a weekend thing. Like it did bleed into the week every once in a while, but like it was college and our jobs first and foremost. But you know, you can still do that, and I think you set yourself up for something good. And if it happens, it happens, and it did. We lost jobs, made an album. Just because we were like, whatever, didn't make any money much off of that album, but we did get hired by the zoo, and that kind of kicked off a little bit of like, we should try and make this a full-time thing. So, you know, you just have to kind of set yourself up and have. I wouldn't say you had to plan too far into the future, but make sure you keep your options open.
And be realistic. You know, it's like you said, like you make those decisions as you come to it, but like, you know, be realistic on your situation.
Yeah, there's never been like it's all this or nothing. It's never been like that in Steam Powered Giraffe at all. Like it's always been like, oh yeah, well I have an job interview tomorrow. I can either do that or go and do the album. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do the album and we'll try to make it work. Stuff like that, you know.
4 more questions. We have time?
Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Abby.
I don't know. We're running out of tape.
Did any unexpected mishaps or funny incidents happen at Echo Engine during, before, or after?
Not about funny, but my guitar died. That was probably the highlight. I don't know if it's a highlight.
Oh no, the newspaper. Too bad Camille's not here. That was funny.
That was funny.
Okay, that was funny.
There's a bit where Camille, she has an audio cue to toss a newspaper on stage from the wings for one of the bits, and she makes this noise, she's like like, you know, like she's throwing so everyone can hear her. So the cue went off. She goes and she chucks the newspaper and it got stuck on a stage light, so it didn't actually go out.
Oh, is that what happened?
Like yeah. So everyone heard her like make this like really dramatic throw, and nothing came out. And then like so she like tried to like, without being seen, she kicked it on the stage. So she made this like really like, you know, dramatic noise, and then like from the audience's perspective, a couple beats went by and then it just like slid on stage really quietly.
It got a real big laugh.
I was like, wow, that went over way better, because I don't think it would have got a big laugh if it wasn't that.
So sad. It just like slid out like, oh.
I didn't even know that happened, because I'm trying to not look.
I have my eyes closed for that.
That was the best thing.
Yeah. Everything else was like, I think pretty much like,
yeah.
There was no moment I was like, oh man, like I broke.
It was just maybe pacing issues, but nothing like terrible happened.
Yeah.
Other than the guitar, but we paused it. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, you know, I had the capo in the wrong key, so I was playing one of the songs.
All the happy accidents happened during rehearsal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Then we just added them to it.
Are we almost to the end? I think.
Oh, we got 3 more.
Okay, we can do it.
Hope asks, Brian, if you were an alcoholic beverage, what would you be, and what would 0 be?
And this has nothing to do with your taste, but just what kind of alcohol would you be?
What kind of alcohol would I be?
What alcoholic beverage would you be?
I'd probably be like scotch or something like that, like really warm. I'm a really hot individual, like warm-blooded. So I feel like not like hot, but like
scotch.
You know, it's like that's a warm drink.
On the rocks or no?
What would on the rocks? No,
straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah,
straight up. What would 0 be?
What would 0 be?
Cactus cooler.
Spiked with
nothing.
He's just a cactus cooler.
He's cactus cooler that you think is spiked, but it's not at all. It's just
like, wow, this guy's really cool. Like, but I guess this is for kids.
It's in a punch bowl, so
wait, that's like so
people are getting like people act like they're getting drunk on it, but it's just cactus cooler.
I've never seen cactus cooler in a punch bowl.
Well, that's what it is, with sherbet inside. It's like cactus cooler with sherbet.
What an old thing. Do they still do that in theaters?
I hope so.
Wait, at the show you're doing, do they have? Is that in the lobby?
No,
it seems like a thing they do.
We're not children. We don't have orange slices at halftime.
Well, you know, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Where they have like the sherbet and the punch, and it's like, what? This is.
Yeah, that's like that's a classic. It's 7-Up and sherbet. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
That's what you make your punch.
I've seen people do Hawaiian punch
and sherbet
community theater stuff. I'm not.
And what's the next question?
Sorry. All right. Sorry. I was just like getting really into it.
I mean, the 7-Up's in there too, or the Sprite or whatever.
All right. This question is from Alex. What music do you personally enjoy to listen to?
A lot of stuff.
Too much.
Lots.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
It's hard to say.
I'm not ride or die anything.
Who's a new artist? Any new artists that you like?
I don't really listen to new music. That's my problem.
It's difficult.
I do, but if I don't like the rest of their discography, I'm like, yeah, I get why this song is popular, but I'm not really feeling anything else.
I like Anderson .Paak a lot, but he's a hip hop. A lot of people.
But I keep my ears open.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I can. I mean, I don't drive, so I don't have much time to listen to music. So I have to actually actively listen.
I don't dislike music at all, but I'm just not one of those people who like, you know, listens to all the new artists every week or month. Or I'm very much under a rock when it comes to that stuff.
I like Tank and the Mangas. They're from New Orleans, dope as
really cool live band. Across things by accident.
Really cool live band. Check it out.
When I do drive, I just don't drive much.
When I drive, I'm really lazy. And when I drive, I just kind of put my Spotify YouTube playlist on because I grew up listening to a lot of them because of my mom. Beatles and U2. I know that's like super basic and like, you know, because they're big mega artists, but like YouTube. I listen.
Yeah,
to YouTube a
but
lot.
you know,
Well, here's the thing is
Beatles
like,
are really good.
Because I don't have time to like when I'm driving somewhere, like go into my list and find something I want to listen to.
I'm not a big fan of like where the rock and roll industry is in general, so like I don't like listening to a lot of new rock and roll.
I don't listen to new rock.
It's not rock and roll in the first place.
Yeah,
it's just
mostly I'm listening to old stuff.
Yeah, I listen to old stuff, and I listen to R&B and hip hop because I feel like those are the only things that are evolving in a way that I enjoy.
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
that's just what my ear likes. You know,
I always find
nothing personal against anyone.
Try to find those hidden gems of people artists that aren't very popular.
Yeah.
It's a lot of singer-songwriter kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't really know, like, well, they're doing a little bit of poppy rock stuff, or maybe they're doing some, like, folk stuff, but it's never like, boy, I really like this band because they make songs that sound like this. It's always like, I don't know, a la carte for me anyway.
For me, I don't really have...
There's no artist that I'm really following.
I don't follow artists. Like, I like individual songs. Yeah. That's what it is.
Although I do like Moses Summy a lot and Daniel Caesar. They're doing some cool... But once again, it's all R&B stuff. I feel like no one's going to care. I'm talking to, like, you know, whatever.
I mean...
So whatever I'm in the mood for, really. I've got classical in my iTunes. I've got some rap.
When I say stuff on my, like,
anything.
my Twitch streams and stuff, like, you know, some fans will go out and look it up, so you never know.
Because I know across the spectrum, I'm down for.
I mean, other than like, I don't even have Beatles on my phone. I probably do in my iTunes library, but I don't listen to it because I've heard every Beatles song. But you know, if people looked at it, they'd be like, "What? What's this?" Like, you know, it'd always be that way.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone. But if you spread it out,
I always
spread
recommend
your wings.
Yeah, they're one band that I really like that Camille introduced me to that is no longer together, unfortunately. But I always try and plug them because they're very unknown in the States. Is Cherry Ghost. So if anyone has heard of them or want to look them up. Yeah. I like them. Anyway. Okay, next question. Nightcat Sketchbook. This is the last question. David, another question just popped up. Okay. David, how did you develop your range, and do you have any tips for anyone wanting to try a similar feat?
Well, I think you're born with most of whatever your voice is capable of, but you can definitely stretch it and get better doing stuff, so...
You've definitely stretched your voice.
I think
since I've known you.
The most important, I went from basically never singing to, well, I don't sing as much as today, but I have the experience of actually singing.
But the control of your high range is like was really nice.
So
just as an outside perspective,
if you get your, I would say get that base training down of like knowing how not to hurt your voice. That's the most important thing, because you know stuff like that for Bunny and stuff. I feel like. When we started out, she didn't really have that, so it took a little longer, even though we were kind of going at the same stuff. So, you know, better to learn it as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to, like, convey. You take a voice class in college or anything just so you can kind of get, I don't know, you don't want to hurt your voice. You want to be able to, because if you just...
It's your instrument. It's like, if you don't have a voice, you don't have a show. So, like, learn how to use it. And this is, I mean, it's your hammer. It's your hammer.
And I think another thing, just as someone who liked singing but didn't sing ever and did those classes, all I could see were people who sung really well, and all you could see is that they're hurting their voices all the time. So, you know, don't let pride, like, oh, you sing really well. I'm like, that's great, but you know, learn the techniques to not hurt your voice. That's really hard to relearn from what I saw, even at like high school level going up, like, because I started at like 17 in college. So that's what I saw from someone who I did like a musical in high school, but I didn't know what I was doing. But other people, you know, they're like, oh, such a great singer. And you'll hear them and we're like, yeah, they really are. But then after a week doing a show, they can't do the show. And you're like, well, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to make sure my voice is going to be able to carry.
Showing up 7 days a week.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's just insight from someone who, you know, wasn't a prodigy as a child.
Well, we can wrap up. We had one more question submitted, but they said we can read it next month. So,
nice.
No,
read it now. All right, we're gonna do it. We're reading it now. Mitch asks, would you guys ever do another collaboration, perhaps with Victor and the Bully or Alice's Night Circus?
Oh, I don't know. I like those guys.
Oh, yeah, they played. Those are the two who played with us at the UK this year.
Well, yeah, we don't do too many collaborations. You know, we so far we've done collaborations with whimsical things, and they're pretty whimsical. But unfortunately, even though their stuff was great and stuff, I don't really know where it fits in because I'm more. As far as Steam Powered Giraffe stuff goes, I feel like Professor Elemental, Cog is Dead kind of makes a little more sense.
I want to go play a show with Victor and the Bully.
We did.
Me personally.
Oh.
Yeah,
I want to show up and play a show with them one day.
like you want to be on stage with them?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I was like,
not like
like we
Yeah.
did. We were there.
No,
Stage.
but I
That doesn't
wanna,
count.
like they're gonna do show, and then I
Okay.
want to come out and,
Yeah.
and play bass on the show.
Okay,
That'd
I
be
see.
cool.
One day.
Okay.
I'm putting that in the universe right now.
Yeah.
So next time I'm in the States,
But yeah, I
I'm gonna hit
mean,
them up.
you never know. I mean, we've kind of like hinted like even Frenching the punk and stuff, but
Oh, yeah.
I think it's more along the lines of like, well, it kind of would benefit us, but probably not. I mean, it's nice when when the stars align, but you know,
that's a cool-
everyone's doing their own thing. So
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Sweet.
okay, let's end it with the guitar, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
You remember the theme song?
I remember everything about everything.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
I thought you were putting headphones on your guitar. That would have been hilarious.
All right.
Okay. We'll see you all next month. Well, some of you will see you at like the acoustic rehearsals on our Patreon. If you didn't know we did those, you can see us rehearse some songs monthly when we do those. There's like four of those or so because our Patreon's pretty new. It only came out in like October, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
But we still have a lot of content. Like we put in like 6.5 years of like posts from the Engineer Tier site on there, so we have a lot of stuff on there. You could spend.
Some time.
It would take you a long time to get through all of it. Is this how it started? No, it was this.
Do you remember?
2, 3, 4.
3 people and 3 microphones on the table speaking words. We're done now. We've said all the words and we can't answer all the questions, even though one at the end by Mitch. Thanks for asking the question. Thanks for listening to the show, and we will see you some other time.
Oh, I didn't edit on the A minor. Oh well, whatever. Kind of did.
I feel unresolved. No, let's hit that A minor real quick. The end. All right, good. I feel much better about it.
All right.
Hey, Bennettarium.
We did it.
All right.
We did another one. Yay.
Hope you feel better, Bunny.
Thank you. Now I have to go turn off.
Okay.
Let's all turn it off together. The Bennettarium.